Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the CCL. We're going into our third of four games this evening, swapping over from the Northeast to the Midwest. Now we're in the Southeast, as we're going to be dealing with the University of Tennessee and the Volunteers out of Knoxville going up against the Tigers of LSU. Should be a good one. Proper is going to be rejoining me, although his name tag currently says Pro Reborn. It's the same guy that you currently saw from the first set of the series. And in this one, it's dealing with two teams that it really does feel like here, Andy, is a must win, especially for UTK. They've had a very tough early season schedule. This one, with them already losing 4 series, has to be a win for them.
Yeah, I mean, I won 4 already. That morale is already going to be at a certain low, but you cannot go in there against LSU. We've seen both these teams on stream actually for CCL. Louisiana at 2-2. Those cats don't want to be headed home with their tail tucked between their legs, that's for sure. But both of these teams have a more than well-adept lineup of players. We can go ahead and take a look at Tennessee Knoxville first. One that definitely comes to mind for me is Connor. You can see right underneath Stainless, along with Slim, Goose Fava, love that name, and Slan. Now, Goose Fava and Connor, last time that we had them on stream, Goose took a while to get heated up, but Connor was warm the entire time. And this M4 player can definitely make or break some situations dependent on the map.
Yeah, 100% agree. And for the SMG line, you're looking at Stainless, who was a little bit slow last time that we saw him. It was against Ole Miss Red. And in that series, it was a 205-250 loss and a 234-250 loss on 2 different hard points. So again, they were right in the mix with a very good Ole Miss team. Going over to LSU and the Tigers, though, as far as what their roster has to offer for us coming into it, you got Petro still in the mix, John Rejects, Critical, an XL Beast who did flip the meta around a little bit, pulling his best Jordan General impersonation by taking out a hybrid scope on his M4, the XL Beast with the XL scope. He did make it work out, though, on the St. Petro hardpoint. It looked pretty solid for him, but they still were not quite able to get past Full Sail Armada, which is the last time we saw these guys on stream.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, coming straight out of campaign and into a CCL match, was able to find a lot of good headway in that, too. I mean, with that hybrid scope, able to cut off the same sight line as an AX50 or an HDR, depending on your flavor of the week as a sniper. It's definitely good. You can definitely pull out a lot of different rotations. One rotation from Atlanta FaZe comes to mind from Minnesota, to where you can keep an AR player within the broken blue building on offense for Arcloth Peak and get a cheeky turnaround back over to the B-bomb side if you have mid covered all the way over to the cemetery. We will be able to see that, and potentially further on, you can take a look at the map set here. Starting off here for Hardpoint will be Azir Cave for us, and then like we were talking about and hinting at, Arcloth Peak, Search and Destroy Shift. I love it. Love me some snipers. Love me some long-range methodical gameplay. Hackney Yard domination. And if we need to, maps 4 and 5, Hardpoint, St. Petrograd, and Piccadilly, Search and Destroy. Another fun one for me.
It was funny, actually. I was kind of surfing through Twitter while we were on the break, and Miles actually posted a picture from Piccadilly Circus with some of the London Royal Ravens guys. And, yeah, it's pretty fun to see those guys just having a good time out there. Of course, we're going to be enjoying the show from behind our monitors, but this one, again, like we mentioned, I just want to hit it one more time. I feel like this UTK squad has not gotten much credit because of their record, but listen to who they've had to play up against. Alabama, Ole Miss Red, Mississippi State were 3 of those games. And then I think they also lost versus the SAU Gold Squad, which is not a bad team either. They've got to go up still after they take on LSU. The LA Tech Squad, Georgia Southern, Full Sail, and then Arkansas before they finally get a bit of a reprieve. But this has been a very difficult early season schedule for UTK, and the chances that I've had to watch through Stainless's POV when he streams his games, this squad is so close. They're right on the cusp of being able to beat some of these squads. But the same can be said for LSU, who, like we mentioned, last time we saw them played up against Full Sail, and it went 224-250. That was a Petro hardpoint, and a 3-6 Search and Destroy loss, and then they got smoked in the Dom 124-231. But still, this LSU squad sitting in the middle of the pack, this feels like a match that, again, both teams really need to win if they want to make a push for the top 8 in this division.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess if there's one optimistic blessing that you can look at of the Southeast Division is that Concord Maroon's not in here. Concord Gray is, but the rest of the teams, ULL comes to mind, Liberty Navy, all of that. But we'll get more into that. I can only imagine, as this is week 3, day 2, match 3 of the day shift. We are starting off Hardpoint, Azir Cave here, University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Louisiana State University, looking to duke it out over that middle hard point. We know it to be a bloodbath, but those early rotations to Cave East, where P2 is located, is what players will be looking for.
We'll see exactly what UTK want to do. How much are you going to commit to hitting the OE early versus trying to get this initial hard point time? LSU with the favored spawns. You're going to see them sending 2 players through the cave system. The other 3 will be making their way over towards Yellow Cobble and the outside portions of the map. For UTK, they're going to beat them with similar pressure. Connor, this is the guy that you're looking at. Condog in game. Can he start things off hot here for the side of UTK? Trades back and forth, 50-50, pinstripe kill feed. Connor finding himself one, looking for a second. We'll see a kid that was prone right underneath. We'll find one at range, and now all of a sudden was Slayin able to get into the back line. This is an opportunity for UTK to potentially swing the middle of the map very early for him.
And they have some reinforcements coming in from the soccer field over by where P3 is. So Shift, they're going to have a really good re-entry here. Those 12 points, it may not seem like a lot, but it is forcing LSU out early to rotate for P2. Change that on another side. They're actually still trying to fight for the scrap time. Connor's going absolutely off, and this is why I highlighted this player, especially for his Azure Cave. This M4 player is going to find a lot of value. Look at this fight coming around. How about another one coming in for Condog? They are having themselves a great start to this game.
Yeah, it's looking really great, although Petrovenator will find a little bit of a 3 kill in the back. So again, 50-50 hits here. So actually the spawns are completely blocked out. LSU spawning currently in the cave system. UTK looking at spawns that are closer towards the soccer field. And we give some shout outs to our boy Slim. He's 1-0 only, but he's soaked up every single second worth of hill time, which has amounted to 50 points now as we cross through that threshold. And UTK on this rotation, it's all Connor, it's all Slayin. They're able to find kills left, right, and center, and Esports LSU is being completely stuffed out of both of these first 2 hills.
Yeah, the MP5s of UTK coming to life, not having a slow start this time around, but LSU are being absolutely trapped all off of rotations from hill time. They almost had the setup there. We're still trying to fight for the scrap time, and now they're spawning all the way out on Cave West. Let's not forget that P3 will be rotating over to the fields. P2 and P4 are those swing points. They're so hard inside the cave.
Goodness.
Once inside teams are already set in. Connor couldn't get the 2-piece, but what shots from range to find critical? Again, only finding spawns. You see there are 2 players for Knoxville, Tennessee that are already holding in from Broken, looking past the fields, already trumping out the spawns from LSU early.
Petro will find one in the cross, will be traded back through. Stainless is able to find the kill, but he in return also loses his life. So 91-6 as the soccer field opens up. LSU with the favored position and getting a little bit of the early time, but they're not zoning out the map as much as they think they would like. And with that, UTK able to work their way back through and try to get some contest time as we go through 20 seconds of hill time so far. Again, Connor looking to get aggressive, will not find the kill, but he gets enough damage to get an assist at least. And with that, the Volunteers able to break on through. Still plenty of time to fight for here as well.
It's just gonna have to come down to the rotation. I mean, this is still being contested, not in the favor. I mean, this 80-point lead will start being diminished ever so slightly. LSU will be looking for this rotation. We'll be going back inside Cave West. Stainless will be the gate guardian here, trying to go for the 2 on the side entry, drop down to the well. Those shots aren't going to be good from Petro there from range as the player is holding onto the B-Dom site. Going to be slim. The rotation will be coming through here momentarily. Only a handful of seconds left. Down inside the field. Scrap time will be going over to LSU, but that's exactly what Knoxville, Tennessee want.
Yeah, big time little snake here for Slim. He just goes up and over, popping himself up like a little gopher looking for kills. He'll find himself a second. All of them headshots here for UTK on the early break again. Just 20 seconds have expired, and Esports LSU are not finding any kills anywhere. 4-12 for John, 3-11 for Rejects, 5-12 for Extra Large Beast 133. Not having a good go of it here for the Tigers. And UTK, with these kills, will actually start to back up, give themselves a spawn in the middle of the cave system. And now, as long as they can win the last gunfights and the scrap time for the hill, they're in a great position to rotate the P5 early.
This could be absolutely massive, but even when the setup is there, can they get the kills? Can they follow up through? Because these sightlines that Connor has been able to find, and the entry frags coming through from Slain and Goosefava, the MP5s and the M4s ringing on true for Knoxville, Tennessee. LSU's standalone AR player is the only one really making a big dent. That's Petro. 11-13 they are, and only -2. I say that because It is the leading kills for LSU for the time being. Moving on over to the cliff side, it is a full stack for LSU, but they're all going to be wiped away. Knoxville, Tennessee walks right in and obliterate the opposition. Now off the rotation from the spawns, Goose and Slim will go down. The backup is here slightly, but so it is for LSU. John popping off for 3.
Rejects will get into the hill. a rare instance here for LSU, but they are finding some time here on the scraps. They'll have to fight back as Slan wants to put himself in the mix, and Connor's right there with him as they combine for 4 kills. John will take down 2 off the pinch, though, and with that, the scrap time here on our P5 will go the way of Louisiana State. And from here, you're wondering, how do you string 5 into 1 into 2? If you want to have a comeback here for Louisiana State, it has to be on this opening rotation of our second set of hills. Stainless from the side, capable to take down 1. Slim right behind him found another. And with that, the Volunteers has zoned away enough to allow them to get some early time. That's until Petro sneaks his way in. Now all of a sudden, Tigers have an opportunity to 50-50 fight for this.
They didn't have the backup sight line all the way through the rug shop on the other side, through possibly Spiral. I mean, the spawns were definitely not in the favor for LSU to be setting up for that, but Petro finds himself a good entry frag. A minor breakup as far as the splits are concerned between LSU and UTK, but LSU do get the favorable spawns. Although the point lead may say a different story than that, LSU will be set up for P2. Like I was saying, a swing point. If they can get set up, they can really make a big dent in this lead. Marching on forward is critical. Trying to go for scrap time might not be the play there, Chief.
Yeah.
LSU are still trying to commit here. There is one player there. That is going to be John. Will be over by P2. They are getting some spawns out that way as well, though there is player for Knoxville, Tennessee, as Connor will go down. They still have the setup here, Shift.
Yeah, and again, with this, I get the decision right here for LSU. You don't want to give up 20 seconds of time at the end of P1 because, let's be honest, you don't have many more seconds that you can give up. But at the same point, if you commit late and lose the spawns for P2, you essentially lose the game. So now, it's up to LSU to hold from the front. Good kills coming through for the Vols, but a nice little double up there as LSU will hold on to that first attempt from the Volunteers of University of Tennessee. So now all of a sudden, if you're LSU, if you can find a way to wipe one more time, get a little bit of an early rotation, you might be able to string together 2 hills in a row, something they have not done yet, and they will not do here as the break comes through. And again, all 4 players on the kill feed, make it now 5. All 5 players for Tennessee getting involved and assisting in that initial break and contest time, and they'll get the chance to maybe secure this scrap time, which again, LSU cannot afford to give up.
LSU just find themselves walking into these gunfights, and they only find 2, sometimes 3 of Knoxville, but they're Knoxville, Tennessee, UTK, they're always coming out on top. And a team of this caliber who have been having a very hard schedule to start things out now find themselves at 240 to 98 on the hard point. Azir K versus Louisiana State University shifts, and you got to be thinking that they've been waiting for this vindication for a long time, that they can feel this good, that they are ready to be taking on the challenge, that they are not a 1-4 team, and they are ready to run away with it. And this win, putting this W on Azir Cave hardpoint, puts them 1 step closer.
You know, again, I don't mean to, be an over repetitive, talking head here, but, watching this UTK team play from where they were at the beginning of the season to where they are now, they improve week in and week out. And this time through, again, the early win conditions for this volunteer squad from UTK was Connor, and really from that point, Stainless had to have big games for them to win sets or win maps. Totally. Now you can take a look at this scoreboard. Just take a look at the participation all across the board. Again, Slim was the guy only with 19 kills, but he found nearly 2 minutes of time and was still positive by 6. So, I mean, this is just what you want to see if you're a UTK fan. A very good first opening showcase. Again, this LSU team is not bad. We saw them put up a fight versus Full Sail a week ago. So, I mean, for them to come out and find that big of a win is, like you mentioned, massive for the confidence of this volunteer squad.
Yeah, and now it comes down to the momentum, right? When we go forward looking at Arklov Peak, I mean, this is where LSU looked very good and very comfortable themselves in slowing up the matchup and slowing up the pace against teams that are a little bit faster. However, for University Tennessee Knoxville, this is very very bright for me to see out of them, that they finally get to flick on the switch of the aggression and what they're going to be able to run away with it too. That we get to see Goose and Slan coming out and winning out those isolated 1v1, sometimes 1v2s, if not 3s. And that's stopping Louisiana State University, dead in their tracks. When John is suppressed to a certain point where they can only pop off in the kill feed for a triple kill, double kill, maybe once or twice towards the end of a hard point, you're in trouble. When Petro Vinitator and all of their sight lines are being heavily contested by flanks from Connor, the 2 standing AR players are having 2 different styles of how the M4 should be played out across all these maps, but it just keeps the entire team of LSU guessing, and they're not able to control all of their flanks. They're not able to control off their respawns, and it keeps them in a tizzy.
Yeah, and when you're winning that many routine gunfights, it gives you the opportunity from UTK's perspective to make decisions and make them a little bit more liberally, which, again, those paid off massively to get LSU in the 100-point club. Now, going to our map series set, again, just to remind you as far as where we're heading to next, Arklov Peak will be our search and destroy that's up next for map number 2, and we will see a Hackney Yard domination, and then if we need it, it'll go back to the St. Petro hardpoint. I have to imagine that was probably LSU's pick, and then Piccadilly will be map number 5. So it'll be interesting to see if, like you mentioned, LSU, can they put together a win here and at least send this to a map 4? Because I feel like the longer the series go, the more favor they start to find. But if they lose the search and destroy here, it would be, I think, tough for them to claw back and find a reverse sweep against this UTK squad, which is looking absolutely feisty. I
think what Louisiana State definitely need to do is take a page out of what I was just saying, is to try to slow up the pace, slow up the matchup. Because what I see coming out from UTK is that aggressive smoke push, and then just forcing their way, especially on offense. I mean, hell, even defense. We've seen so many teams all the way up to the CDL that are not afraid to turn out the aggression, even today as well. That when you have that opportunity, when the enemy team, especially on offense, isn't pushing on forward, that they're not taking the aggressive state, and they're trying to play that poke engagement warfare, that they're trying to wait for the enemy sniper to potentially poke out. Well, you could be working a flank all the way on the outside over by where the opposing B flag is, or for the B site. Only time will tell to see how cheeky and how many tricks up both these team sleeves will get. Louisiana State University and University of Tennessee Knoxville here, Schiff. We grill this up perfectly. None of these teams want to be walking away here with a loss. Unfortunate to say, one of them will.
And here we go. XLBs with the XL scope.
Love it.
And again, we meme on it a little bit in our nature of talking about it, but it worked for him last time through when we saw him use this, not only on Petro, but here as well on Arklov Peak, like you mentioned. So can there be some extra success at long range here for Louisiana State? It will be a 5-man hit over to A. How about this, though? For UTK, 3 members are actually holding over towards the B side, leaving Goose and I believe Slam, the only other 2 players that are out here towards the A side. And a lot of nades are coming through, and LSU has already pushed through the broken building for free. And goodness, if you're a Volunteers fan, you're wondering when they're going to call for a rotation.
Rejects is going to be able to put down the bomb. Here comes a rotation through the mid. Goose Fafa is the standing sniper for UTK, has the AX-50, was able to find Rejects after the bomb was planted. Stanless pushed through the mid, was able to find John, who was trying to cover that side, and now the pins are starting to come through. You see working their way in front of the spawn, a UTK player finds themselves. Petro Vinitator putting themselves on the board for LSU, trades out their life, but the pins are way too strong, and the follow-up all too good, and the communication visible here for UTK, calling out all of their adversaries, and, well, the team shots all came through.
You know, I'm wondering, you know, again, this in my weird world of hindsight, you know, if that snipe doesn't come through for Goose, does that play work for UTK? I'm honestly curious, because it all hinged on the fact that the 2 players that were defending at A, they needed to find 1 kill. So that way, everybody from LSU is still worried about the front. You're able to send 1 player along through the back, and then 1 more that hits the mid-cut through that broken building, and that's why that pitch ends up becoming successful. But if that kill doesn't come through, or if you get first blooded, I wonder if that strategy works out. We'll have to keep an eye on that to see if that comes out the next time that UTK is on the defense. Here, though, in their first offensive hit, they will send...
John's not going to like this.
Yeah, and this is going to be all over towards the outside, and you mentioned John's not going to like this. He will be the first one taken down as the full B hit wrap is coming through pretty quickly here for the Vols.
Commitment, a little bit of hesitation as far as the rotation goes for LSU. They don't want a full commit because they don't know how far UTK have already gone. Scoping in down the backside, seeing for a side rotation. The bomb site, pretty darn clear. Petro Vinitator's up top, loses that 1v1. Can't be losing that one, although Rejects is able to find Slan. I mean, numbers heavily advantaged for UTK. Still shots across the board. Bomb hasn't been planted here, though, Shift, and find ourselves in a 2v3.
Yeah, and if you're XL Beast, he needs to clear out this snow path, but you don't want to. It just takes so much time. We'll cook up a nade to see if he can send this right into the window. And the bomb has already rotated through the middle over towards A. They're going to leave Goose mid-map to see if they can catch one of the rotation through that L alley, which you see him looking at. Bomb is going to now go over to A and will be planted. And LSU, who have opted to go for the window retake of B, will quickly realize we've got to get on our high horse, pony, whatever you got, small mule, get over to A. And Critical with the sniper rifle, you feel like he's got to either find a pick or immediately swap to a different weapon and try to hit this quickly, because only 38 seconds remain here, and UTK are already set up where they want to be.
How do you reapproach this here if you're Critical? Right back on the X50. Can't train the shot enough. Honors is good, however. The M4 gets the second, won the round because of it, and well executed there from UTK. 2 rounds up and down in their favor. Already understanding where Critical was probably going to be going inside that hostile. It's very favored for the defense, especially when the bomb is planted at A to get that shot out there. But I love the change of pace, especially starting off on Arklov Peak. Typically, you won't see teams start pulling out those strategies until the later rounds. But what this will set up in long hole, you know as well as I do, Shift, S&D is about conditioning, especially early on. If you can get inside the minds of LSU here, who are 2 down on their offense, what's going to be the setup this time around? Last time, UTK, well, they didn't have the proper setup to how it was going to be set up. They do exactly the same thing, but LSU, they're going to be pushing on forward this time around. Goose looking down the trenches. Does anybody peek out? Nobody's near. There's the one. Can't get the shot.
Oh, man.
Low has to fall back.
And they've lost Stainless, who was on the A bomb site. So now all of a sudden you're looking at the rotation for UTK. 2 players through the L alley, working their way back over to the backside of A, looking for a post-plant snipe. Connor's going to be the one to take down the player on the bomb site. So now Goose can watch real deep. But again, you got to figure Critical's doing the same thing from behind the broken building. Watch out for this flank. I think it's Slayan, who's all the way back to number 9. No, it's Slim Barnaby. Well timed as he finds himself 2. Connor pushes forward, finds a 3rd, and now it's just down to John. And while UTK is trying to find out where he's gone, he's not going to get here in time to stop the defuse. And UTK will take a 3rd round. And what a flank and what timing that was for Slim to pick up 2 from the back.
That's the second time around on defense. Dave, it worked the first time. Why not do it again? Slim doesn't see any member for LSU holding the mid, trying to trump out the rotation that comes all the way through from the other bomb site. And that's just an open invitation right into the back line. Why not? Anybody would do it. M4, MP5, hell, even an AX50 HDR. Why not?
Do what you got with what you got, I think is where we were trying to go with that, or something of the nature. I don't know.
I feel like we're about to break out in the song here sometime soon.
Some really bad, like, 80s early rap with that. Do what you got with what you got. You know what I mean?
Shift breakdance comes back. Let's go.
No, that's not happening. XL Beast, XL Scope, mid-map. Not going to find anybody coming over the corner of this smoke, but we'll be looking towards the proper area, towards this alley. If no one's there, Reject's able to find first blood here for LSU. The first time we can utter those words. And will that lead to a successful round for him? Goodness, do they need one. Stainless, naded up, has to wait for his regen to come through. Meanwhile, though, these players for the Vols are getting a little antsy mid-map. One will just jump up to the top of blue, and with that, maybe the Vols are thinking we could swing this bomb back over to B.
There's just one player, that's John, that's holding over to B. Player here towards the mid. We'll start poaching on forward. That's Connor, that's just holding this tank. He's going to be waiting for the players to be rotating through broken and well into the courtyard. And what a fantastic location as you see the bomb is rotating all the way out towards that window side. And John has this angle already scouted. He's starting with main and able to get it, but Connor's shots have been ringing true ever since the hardpoint began last map shift. And finding first blood against Rejects, that's one member down. Take a look at the minimap again. You can only imagine that has to be Slim working all the way around the back line. John is able to find Connor. That's the player that's holding off inside the building, wasn't able to look down the stairs fast enough, and that allows Stainless to walk on forward, has the bomb. This bomb site's clear, could put the plant.
And you got to be worried here if you're LSU, because Critical with the sniper rifle has to make a play from the long range, and he will actually get a pistol kill versus Slim.
Well then.
Not sure how he managed to do that, but you take those. And now Stainless is the one up watching the backside of the house, and he's missed a player to his left. It's Petro who's found himself, too. Enough to clean up the rest of the Vols players that were trying to hold on to this B bomb site. We'll wait to reset a couple of dead silences before we start to defuse this bomb, and a much-needed round here for LSU finally goes in their favor.
Oh, absolutely. John played that pretty well. The information came through that the bomb carrier was already rushing into them. Obviously, it had to be the bomb carrier if it was unscouted out, and there's no way that it would be wrapping all the way back around or even hanging out on top A. But I love the little bit of poke, trying to go for the bait and switch that time round for University, Texas, Tennessee, Knoxville. But the only problem was I don't think that Condog needed to push up that far, to be honest with you. You get the kill, you pull yourself back, you try to secure the bomb kill, because it's just way too many angles. And once the communication comes through that there's a player in the mid, you know that those players from the top of B and from the mid scoop will end up trying to retrain their aim to you. It was well played out from UTK, but the execution a little bit shy, a little bit better on the side for LSU, who now find themselves on offense. Going to be Critical with the bomb. Going to be working their way outside towards B. It's going to be Slim this time around on the outside.
I'm so puzzled by this defensive setup. UTK again going with a 3-2 split, defending B more than they are A. And the initial peak for the two players at A were in the same location. So maybe a tough little bit of communication going through. Slim will track down one long. Tosses to Semtex's direction, but it was a touch short. And as trades were happening across the map, the numbers will still favor the offensive LSU, who are continuing to look back over towards B. And Beast has not found much action with this ACOG scope yet, but he's in a position to watch over the B bomb site pretty nicely. Just comes down to, can they work the bomb in there at all?
Yeah, if anything, just giving long-range information. Shots get a little bit more difficult, especially against a player of Connor's caliber that finds out with just seems to be a red dot more often than not. But one player down, it's going to be rejects. Bomb still being carried by Critical. Numbers advantage for LSU. And I love this, just a little bit of a hesitation there. However, UTK not willing to give up any ground. They're not rotating because no information has been given. About less than 40 seconds now for LSU to be making a play. The bomb carrier, been working their way into bomb site B. This could get very hairy sometime soon.
I guess you're wondering who brought their shaving kit first. Stainless able to find one. Petro trades back another. So we're left with still a 3-on-2 for the offense. But Critical's in a little bit of trouble. Will keep his life. But again, as the bomb carrier, you're looking at the time ticking down. And to be honest, well, the sound ticking behind you isn't making it any easier. But he wins a big 1v1, and Petra will find another. And make sure you charge up your dual shock there, never mind, as we don't want to lose the battery. And that'll be a nice big second round there for LSU, bouncing right on back with 2 straight.
Goose had dead silence there. This was the right play, but even of a better angle being held there. The offense, LSU. 2 rounds in sequence, like you said. S&D, a very momentous game, as all Call of Duty seems to be. And when we talked about how UTK needed that vindication off of Hardpoint, LSU need to get their minds on track, and, well, they need to keep those gears turning. Petro is up at 5-3. It's leading their team in KD. However, UTK does have one player at 0-3. However, Slim has been finding constant flanks. Connor at 8-2 has been finding constant entry frags just from well-trained AR shots. And about this little bit of a patient offense trying to get some information first.
And again, for UTK, you got this player pushed up mid-map. Can you find a way to free him up to hit this backside A pin? That's Stainless who's there. Opening shots are good. He finds a big pick and then immediately runs back to make sure nothing is hitting the mid-cross. And now there's options here for the Vols. With the player sitting just outside the blue building by the B side, plus Stainless holding this L connector, you could very well just wrap this bomb back around to B. Stainless, though, will give up his spot for now and just keep going back and forth while Slim with the bomb will actually use that silence and push through. He's going to find one. That's beautiful timing because Rejects was looking for the cross. And now big numbers here for UTK.
No way.
And Slim finds a second right on top of the bomb site. It's going to be down to Critical. He takes down one. But he immediately will be looked at by everybody who is still alive. And the Vols of UTK take another round up 4-2.
Yeah, it was just Critical left alone in the hostile, but what an absolute amazing play. No smokes needed. No player holding the trench there with an AR for LSU. Popping the Deddy and just, well, quite frankly, getting on in there. And what better way for an offensive win without the bomb being planted? UTK start to find themselves back on track. Now find themselves with a lead of 2. Yet again, LSU on their offense, gonna have to see what they shake things up with. I mean, that patient play over to B worked out pretty damn well for them. Catch things a little bit off guard. Will be a swap of pace here. Nope, never mind. Critical. We'll keep in the AX-50. It's probably gonna go to that pretty normal spot, but they were slow off the spawn, so you almost have to assume that if there's a sniper on the other side, it's gonna be well trained. Won't be this time around. It's gonna be dead silence popped for the bomb carrier, trying to march on forward. She's gonna go prone. Try to stick this plant. There it is.
It's gonna go down, yeah. And Petro's already snuck his way forward, although the timing is not great. Oh, you gotta win those. I mean, you're looking at his toes coming across slowly, and Stainless, we mentioned how he needs to have big games for this UTK squad to start popping off. He gets himself a double, and Goose, oh goodness, don't do it to him. All right, Slim will take care of him, but I was about to say, if Goose finds that quick scope, it would be something silly. But the Vols, no chance, or no problem, rather, to defuse this one. They'll be on map point, and in a rare scenario, they're about to be potentially up 2 maps to 0.
I mean, you told me at the beginning of this match that this would be the case. Not so much, but coming off of that hard point, I firmly believe it. I mean, it's just I can't stress it enough. I talked about Connor at the beginning of this series shift. I'm going to highlight them once again. When you have an AR player with this sheer amount of grit and just oppression, like an MP5 player, that is also finding kills from range. She's a 10-2 shift.
Yeah.
You just can't let that happen.
I mean, but what are you going to do about it? I mean,
you got an extra large scope, and you have an AX-50. These long lines of sight, they either need to be moved, because the ones that you're walking off a spawn with, they're not cutting it.
Well, we'll see. Extra long sight lines again are going to come into play as John is, again, the LSU Tiger that's trying to watch over the cemetery push, which was about to come through for UTK. But how about this? A little, let me show you this, and then actually do that as the bomb is starting to back up and go over towards A. A little bait and switch potentially as far as the strategy goes through.
Oh, that's huge.
Although it doesn't look like UTK is fully committed to that rotation as they're still sending players across the mid-map line. And Slim will be the one first blooded, and Connor will fall just after him. So you wanted to see Critical get a shot down onto that M4 range, and he will do it M4 versus M4. And like you mentioned, that's huge for LSU, who now have a 5-on-3 scenario in front of them.
Yeah, once that kill came down from Slim, UTK, they have no choice. The rotations were already there from LSU. They have to commit to B, but they have to get the kills first, obviously. But being down 2 players, this flank's got to pay off. Stainless, unable to do so, will die and drop the bomb as well. It just comes down to Goose and Slain to make the magic happen. I mean, they're wrapping all the way around. They're still on the outside, but on their side of the map for the attackers. You're on search and destroy Arklov Peak, and they're just going to be leaving out in the open here in the cemetery. I mean, there's not really much that you could do here. 1v5. I think Goose probably understands that more than anything. They don't even have the bomb at this point. That if you could make some miracle happen with this AX-50, it would be right there, but not so much. Already well trained.
Yeah. And again, that's a big round for LSU. I mean, every round from here on out is a big one, but to start that hot is what you want to see more of. Just to get that long line of sight, like you mentioned so nicely there, Proper, just in your favor. Just keep UTK from feeling comfortable, which they have very much so been at long range especially. So can that stay the case? Can they find a way to continue to put the pressure on UTK and make them make a play here? We'll find out. They get to control the tempo and the pace as they go into their 4th offense. Round number 9 in a hand for us. Bomb will be picked up by Rejects, and it looks like all 5 players initially for LSU will make a play over towards the outer edge of B. But this is kind of what I don't like about these hits towards B, is that you've got nobody watching the mid-map cut.
Right.
Until they get into the top of the building, and by that point, you're just hoping you don't get picked at first, and well, there it is. Slayin finds a kill onto John window to window. Rejects will very quietly open one door and then not mind the second whatsoever. Goes up to find the trade, will get it. Okay, an opportunity here as Rejects now has possession of the B house.
I mean, Slayin had that silence. There was no reason for you to be losing that one. Petro was playing around to control the mid scoop, although they didn't end up going with the play that you and I were hoping for the B hit. Yeah, but we'll find a little bit of numbers action here for LSU. Good peek around the corner. Those shots are going to be well trained from Stainless. We'll get themselves a kill, evening things up here in a 3v3. Con, Goose, and Stainless versus Critical, Petro, and Rejects. However, the bomb will be planted over at B. Obvious information for UTK to be rotating through. The one player I'm looking at is the rotator all the way through the mid now. 2 players now, as Connor's going to be joining that. It's going to be Stainless on the far side. No players to be looking at directly. A player about to be peeking through the window. Not so... Not quite.
This is a great hold for LSU.
Absolutely.
And Stainless, last one alive. He might have an opportunity to sneak. It just comes down to the timing and won't even win the first gunfight. The second was off to his left. It would have been desperate to try to find a ninja hit defuse there, but I think the opportunity was starting to build for itself. Never mind, I didn't realize how close Reject was. He was watching over the entire time. So nix that comment, and we'll go into round number 10. And LSU bouncing back here with 2 rounds straight, making things a little bit interesting, and you're kind of wondering here if you're a Vols fan, what do you have up your sleeve here on this potentially last offensive hit to just put this one away?
I mean, if you're LSU on defense, you're going to be probably more than set up continuously having 2 players over on LSU, one on the outside, one maybe inside B. Typically, the setup that we see here on Arklov Peak defense with the 3 going towards A, potentially putting 1 players on boxes, won't be this time round. Goose is back with the AX-50. Player from LSU is going to be taking this peek around the trenches, won't fully commit to it, and wisely so, as Goose has this trench more than locked down.
This comes down to the shot. Has to hit it, you would feel like. We'll get it. Okay, that was... Hello? Are we in a photo shoot taking headshots? Because that was about as easy as it gets for Goose. I'm not sure what Petro's doing trying to prone peek. But Slim will now take the advantage and push forward. Finds one on the side, no problem. And now big numbers here for UTK. make it a 5-on-1. XL Beast is going to have to go extra large here. That's an opportunity for one.
Ooh.
What a snipe that was. We're going to see it from his perspective, but that was a nice little jump across, and UTK will secure the round at the back end of the scope pick, 6-4.
I just want to soak this in real quick. This was the drag shot. Bah! It's kind of nice. Thought that one all the way. Yep, you deserve that pirouette right there. It was a pretty nice shot, I'm not going to lie. But
love it.
Yeah, I love the pirouette more, personally. But, you know, we're not here to judge. We're here to cast. But at the end of the day, one thing that we can definitely take away from this for LSU shift, I mean, in those middle rounds, they started to look very impressive. Their execution was right there. Their setups were also fantastic beyond belief. A very different look coming off of Hardpoint for LSU. And, well, quite frankly, they're going to need it in domination because, well, UTK, they're on match point.
They are on match point, and how about this, just to add to that sentiment, it's going to be on Hackney Yard. If we've got a chance to take a look back at our score series, 250-98. UTK looking solid on Azir Cave. The 6-4 got a little close there near the end, but it was mostly UTK deciding the tempo and pace of that set. And now we go to Hackney Yard, where, again, map control with M4s, I feel like is really going to be the true tell of if LSU can get back into this. Again, last day we saw them on stream versus Full Sail. Let's be candid, they were getting smoked by Full Sail on, I believe it was Gunrunner. And just a lack of understanding, I think, generally of how to manipulate the map and put it in your favor. And that, if that was the case at Gunrunner, it becomes exfoliated to be extra important here on Hackney Yard.
We find ourselves talking about a continuously shift that warehouse, even when it's not fully into play, B-Dom site, all the way past the offices. It is a Covenant location, top L, bottom L. It's still up in the air. I would probably say the AB is probably most favorable. Trapping members inside C, quite troublesome. Trapping players inside A is also troublesome. Altogether, what I'm still pulling away from Azir Cave is just the M4 and MP5 pressure, that this is going to have to be John's breakthrough moment. Critical and Rejects are really going to have to come to life here to help out Beast and Petro to lock down those longer sightlines. If not, have Beast pick up an MP5 themselves. As we know, Hackney Yard is typically played out with the 1 M4 traditional setup. Because going up against UTK Knoxville off of Hardpoint, I mean, just bringing it back lane when 23-10, 20-14 for Goose. It was just across the board scary stuff. But what the one thing is that you have to be more scared of is Condog. 29-13 off of Hardpoint. Condog just had a beast of an S&D win, 10-4. Was just underneath Slim, who had dropped an 11 kills with 6 deaths. However, if you're not there bulldozing your way through the flanks and past the other members of UTK, you're never going to get to where Connor's located at, and he's always trading out his life for 1, if not 3.
Yeah, that's the big news there, again, is the fact that his life it always extends longer than you want to see it if you're playing up against him. And that's something that I think you're absolutely right, needs to absolutely change here going into this. So again, Hackney Yard, just as a reminder, both these teams in the Southeastern Division are underneath the top 8. Again, 18 total teams in each of our 4 divisions. The top 8 by the end of the regular season will be entered in to have a chance at the playoffs. So again, as we're looking at both of these teams, one sitting in the 10th position, the other in the 13th. UT Knoxville only has been credited so far with a forfeit win because there has been a team that did not obviously play through the regular season. And this would be a mammoth win for them. Again, 2 wins could instantly put you right on the cusp of being a top 8 squad. A very competitive Southeastern division here, I think, in a lot of people's minds, and rightfully so. They would say that this is the hardest and toughest division in the CCL, and I would think that they're absolutely correct. And a pivotal matchup here, not only for UTK to find potentially a first win, but if LSU can find a way to bounce back, it would put them definitively over that top 8 line. We'll see how they're able to do it. The Tigers will be spawning on the C flag side, the unfavored spot. It looks like they're going to send 4 players off there to try to contest this B flag at the warehouse.
1 player from UTK already dedicating themselves over to offices. We'll take a look over the jump peak. Kill feed already blowing up for UTK. They're winning this out. Critical is able to trade back for 2 here in top L shift. But this is still going to be what's going to end up coming out of this, because the spawns now will be in office, see now, and not towards the ADOM side for UTK. Although trade's still coming through, the BDOM flag halfway towards UTK's favor hasn't been fully capped over. It will be here sometime soon, you would only assume, because the spawns will be here for UTK. But I like this turn of aggression here from LSU. They recognize that the spawns are coming through the office side. They try to flood them out, but they lose the gunfight.
Yeah, and that's tough. Goose able to take down 2 on that rotation by the forklift. So just like that, LSU, all their success that they were trying to find through the office has been essentially pushed back, and now they'll spawn right on top of the C flag and have to work their way across the map again. Goose just being very patient mid-map. Connor also here with them as they try to probably set up a little bit of a wrap over towards the B warehouse if needed. Connor will be moving up top. Those were about as quick of shots as I've ever seen them. He's got a player underneath, but for UTK, they're fine to respond to this, you would feel like, just simply because they had that mid-map pressure.
And look what they're able to do with this map pressure, too. I mean, just look at the arrows and just how they're just commanding the entirety of this mid-map, right? All the way from top L, all the way to the center of the map. You see right here, player number 2 is going to be working their way around the mid-scoop to keep that covered. Then there's a player that starts wrapping through off. Up in top L here, we've seen so many players just absolutely get a feeding frenzy off with an MP5 in that position alone. Connor looks to get a little bit of that flavor. Going to be charged. Will win that gunfight. Drop into bottom L here. Connor Dog able to find another one. My goodness.
Full wipe comes through for UTK, and they put themselves again in definitive control of this first half. Although his player for LSU has snuck behind enemy lines and is working his way over towards the A flag for a neutralization, if not potentially a spawn flip. He's going to need some help, though, because him by himself will not do the trick. And it's Rejects. He's going to have one player nearby. It's Connor, who will jump across. I think he saw the information. A big 1v1 here, and Rejects will take it. And now all of a sudden, it's an AC flip that's trying to come through. And Knoxville, if they're not careful, they might actually give up the A side of the map. Rejects with another big 1v1, that one onto Stainless. And like that, LSU now hold the A flag and have put a lot of good pressure onto the B warehouse as well.
But they're all spawning in offices. There was a player that just flipped over to C here shift, gave up. There was a player, another from LSU, that went full on sneak mode and went back in there. An AC hold here for LSU. Spawns coming in the warehouse now for UTK. And if you're LSU, you know where most of them are going to be located at. UTK finally going to be able to flip back over the A home flag. But what a scary moment there. UTK really found themselves in. LSU able to come out and start making this point deficit just by 10. Good map pressure from them thus far, but it still comes down to the gunfights that they're losing.
Yeah, and we're here in the second quarter of this map here, 2:40 to play. Long-range shots from Slim, those are ambitious, won't be credited with the kill, but a nade will do the trick for Goose. And again, for LSU, it just feels like it's just too one-dimensional. We're hitting B all together, or we're hitting the OE all together, and the Volunteers are just not shaken by it whatsoever. They're responding relatively nicely. Nice little to his life. That'll be enough for, again, UTK to hold good control of the warehouse, although they've lost track of one player from LSU who has neutralized the flag. So an opportunity for LSU maybe to convert on this for a small time, but again, coming off the long spawn, they're just not able to get there in time, and UTK will once again put B in their favor.
It was a 1 point during that first quarter shift, by the way. Had to make sure that I checked everything. 5 MP5s for UTK. 5 MP5s. Now Condog finally picking up the MP. Yeah, right? I mean, it's just the oppression that you're able to find. You can command mid, you can command green or offices. Top L, bottom L. There it is right there. The contest coming in there. Stainless will lose. Connor will drop down from middle of the warehouse. The shot's almost ringing true to critical. Will be reach out here from bottom L. You see the player. He did not. Now we'll get the information. Be able to get that kill on XLB. So I believe they stun themselves. However, I mean, Connor up here, although dying via Semtex by way of slaying their teammate. It's up at 12-8. Slim at 15-3. Goose is at 19-6. He's on 3 straight. And just LSU are just having a hard time answering back as far as kills are concerned. Yes, the points are close. The map presence is there, but the kills are still not ringing in for LSU.
Critical will get turned down a little bit there by Stainless, an awkward 1v1 that he's able to take. Final 60 seconds of this half, and if the flags stay as they currently are, we'll have UTK over the 100-point threshold pretty easily. And it looks like based on the kills that we're currently seeing, including that little nice ragdoll effect out of the top L window, UTK will hold on to this B flag unless something dramatic happens here in the last 40, which it very well may, but Stainless, he's going to get pinched up from behind. So here's an opportunity. Last member left in the warehouse is actually a player from LSU. So now with an opportunity to maybe get 2 flags late in this series, maybe they can get above the 75-point mark, but it won't happen here. But a decent neutralization, it'll keep the score a little bit closer for a time being. But generally speaking, a near flawless first half there for UTK.
Yeah, the 35-point deficit will probably be what we're going to be looking at. Probably a little bit more in the next few 5 seconds. Roll on through. Slim going through in the kill feed has themselves an M4 now as well. And I mean, it just the map presence.
By the way.
Yeah, I mean, 9 straight is having themselves of a time. Once that MP5 life probably rang, I use it. You know what, Connor? I can see what you're doing with that M4, and I raise you one myself. 114 will be the point threshold there for UTK in the lead. LSU, they're not out of it though, or they're not completely out of it though. They can still come back here if they start off really hot. If they fully commit over to B, let's not forget right off rip that UTK did dedicate one player towards going into offices to get a mid spawn and potentially a AC hold. Potentially could be player 4 yet again. Connor hanging out over there is going to be joined by Slim. And this rush here is going to be met 3-1 in the warehouse.
And look, here's the deal here for LSU. Again, you did a nice job of flipping the map around for a small time there in the first half. If you can just control 2 flags for, let's say, 5 minutes, you'll actually be up at the end by 30 points. So you've got some time to play with here. As long as you do not allow UTK to come around the backside and flip these spawns around, which it looks like they very well may with Connor finding that pick. And unfortunately, a player for LSU, that was Petro, who actually pushed through the warehouse to get a C capture. This isn't what you want, I don't think, if you're UTK. Yeah, you're going to have 2 flags for now. It's going to look good for about 30 seconds on the kill feed. But the problem is you lost the spawns, and Stainless able to piece up 2. That's going to be exactly what UTK want. They say thank you very much. Christmas came early, or I guess came late, depending on how you look at the perspective of the year calendar. And they're going to put themselves on the AB flag early.
Stainless having themselves a pretty good third quarter here thus far. 26-3 so far. Starting off the round 4 straight is Slim. Worked their way all the way back on the flank. Past the jump wall towards the tire shop. It's now on 5. And I mean, just the amount of flanking that Slim's been able to pull off all the way through all of the game modes so far, Shift, is just something that you can't allow to have happen. LSU, they do get the man advantage in the rush towards B, but they should have ended up pushing on through towards C. Those spawns that came through from office immediately favored for UTK, as you see, with a dominant AB hold. These trades coming on through. There is a lone survivor here. It's Rejects on the B-Dom flag. Could be hit here for a moment's time. UTK will be trying to recontest. Good drop shots there from Rejects. Another well-trained shot there. Finds himself a pretty little 2-piece. Can he get the third? Player has dead silence. Gets stuck. Goes down.
But again, this is all valuable time for UTK. I mean, again, with 4 minutes remaining in the game, LSU not only are going to have to find 2 flags, but as the time continues to dwindle, they're going to have to find a full trip cap at a certain point in time. And again, where they struggled all in the first half was getting across to the A flag. Goose, I'm not really sure what that was, but he'll take it. And again, over the mid-map, he's got one at range, one up close, not enough bullets in the mag, so he will eventually fall. But like I mentioned, if LSU cannot find a way to come across the A side of the map and get a flip, this one is going to be just about all but over. So we got to find a way for the Tigers to get some pressure on the A side right now.
Critical there with the M4, able to get a well-trained shot. John now popping up in the kill feed, but not in the favor of which they wanted, finding a team kill onto Critical. That was how they went down. Now you see the flood coming through, slaying. Living up to their name, will go down. Lose their head by Petro. But I mean, again, Slim, just their arrow alone, constantly flanking, always finds themselves behind enemy lines. There's another 2 pieces. Back to the MP5, by the way, Shift. It's at 33-5. Will die. But look how much work has already been done. Look how much map has been taken away by from LSU.
I don't know if
Connor
it's
has
him
an
switching. I was going to say, I don't know if it's him switching weapons off spawn because he's only died 5 times. I think it's just, hey, I'm out of bullets. I got to pick up whatever's available to me.
True.
And Connor, like you mentioned, is having a little bit of fun here. And, you know, good for UTK. Again, they had a really tough start of the season. You know, I know that the energy in the squad was still relatively in high hopes, but you lose 4 games early on and you don't feel great about your chances to see playoffs. And then you come out against a team that you really feel like you have to beat, and you do this to them. You got to be feeling pretty solid about what you got coming forward here for UTK. Again, as we are in here in the 4th quarter, this one is just about all but over. And for UTK, I mean, again, they've got LA Tech, which, again, is if they can win that game, they're right back in even standing. But then they've got Georgia Southern, which is a tough task. They've got Florida State and then Arkansas. That just gets us to week 5. You still have half of your division to play through at that point.
Wholesale's in here. Mississippi State's in here. ULL's in here, Shift. We could go on for hours. It's just how stacked the Southeast Division is. But I guess optimistic may be that Concord Maroon's not in here. It is Concord Gray. Though you can't wag a finger at it, that team could definitely take some points away from you. But I mean, if UTK play with this confidence against every single team going forward, they're going to do some real damage here in the Southeast Division shifts. Because I'm not going to lie, the amount of grit that I was able to see from this team, apart from when we caught them on stream last, you and I, is absolutely stellar. And I'm going to say the word again that I said off a hard point, vindication. This has to be just pure vindication that UTK are feeling. You talked about the spirits still being relatively high, regardless of what the series win-loss score looks like for UTK. But I mean, this just reminds me of UT Dallas going into week 1, very nervous, and now look at them. Same thing for UTK. They got the sauce shift. They just need something to put it on.
And, I'm looking through their schedule right now. I'm already tallying up 5 likely wins for them. South Carolina no longer playing. South Arkansas Blue no longer playing. Or actually, they are the ones that playing, so they'd have to play that match. But Ole Miss Blue no longer playing. And then you've got likely wins versus High Point and hopefully Concord Gray. So if you're able to surprise a team like LA Tech, Florida State, maybe even Arkansas, you've also got LU Navy in there that's definitely beatable, I think, with how this team played today. That's 7 or 8 wins. That puts you right in the top 8, and honestly, it probably puts you a little bit higher than that, considering what some of the other teams that are in this division still have to go through schedule-wise. John's going to have a little bit of fun, a little bit of a pokey stab from behind, but again, this one has been over for a while, and it will read a win here for UTK, who's been having fun for the last about 3 minutes, and they will take a 3-0 here versus LSU. And like we mentioned, that's just got to feel good for UTK. They've been putting in the work. They've had a very tough schedule. And hey, maybe because they've had a tough schedule, they've learned a lot, and they came back and played very well today.
There's a lot of tape to be learned from all of that. A lot of tape to be learned from such hard losses early on in the season shift. And well, you can only imagine hitting the grind, watching the tapes, playing them back and learning from them. That's what you want. And again, just you got to be feeling good if you're UTK coming off of this win here. Such dominance performance. I mean, just look at these kills. I mean, yes, a lot of this was frivolous frolicking with guns at the end of the map once it became mathematically impossible for LSU to come back through. 46 kills for Goose, 40 kills there for Slim, who was existing on the flank, only died 9 times. That's exactly what you want to see if you're a UTK fan.
100% the case. We'll take a look back really quickly if you joined us here late as far as how this 3-0 occurred. And it's been 3-0s all night tonight, as we had a 3-0 with Humber versus Lambton, a 3-0 of Concord versus the University of Illinois Orange team, and now a 3-0 here for the Volunteers out of the University of Tennessee, 259-D8 in a whopping of a Nazir Cave hardpoint, a 6-4 that UTK never really gave up the control with, even though the scoreline may suggest differently. And then that one as well, even though it's going to read 198, 183, it's been over for about a minute and a half or 2 minutes left in that second half. So a very good series put together there from the Vols, and you've got to be feeling great about, like you mentioned, the progress that's been made for this this UTK squad, and the progress you potentially could be making as you go forward, again, continuing on this very difficult early season schedule that they have.
Oh yeah, and it's hard to say that it's ever going to get easier. I mean, yes, there are teams that have yet to win. There are perhaps quote unquote easier teams that you may face in the Southeast Division, but later on down the road, once you find yourself in that top 8, look at playoffs. I mean, this is where these waves start trickling in, right? They start creating bigger waves, and further on down the road, you're looking at a tsunami, and that's what this momentum can start building for UTK. For them to be able to feel it them in themselves, whether in or out of scrims, if they're winning or losing, regardless, here on stream, and a much-needed win, walking in at 1-4, they find themselves at 2-4, raising up their map win-loss record and without any losses on that to Nick.
That's big, actually. I didn't even think about that factor, that the map count very well could come into play here in the Southeast, and finding that 3-0 is massive, especially if there is a tiebreaker scenario where, again, maybe LSU is still in the mix. They have won 2 games so far, and they're sitting right on the middle. A tough start to their season. They're 2-2. Florida State is not out of the woods yet. Liberty Navy also only having won a single series so far. I mean, there are a lot of teams where a tiebreaker could come into effect, so definitely an important storyline to kind of keep in mind as we're looking at the Southeastern Division. Coming up next, though, a much-anticipated match, UT Dallas, a squad on the rise. Not a lot of expectations for them at the beginning of the year, but they have put together a great season opening. They're going up against the number 1 team in the CCL Top 25 of Texas A&M Maroon, with 2 players that you're going to recognize that played last year in CWL World Championships. One of the squads that a lot of people are looking at to be the favorites, not only in the Western Division, but potentially, as like we mentioned, in the entirety of the league. That's the number 18 Comets going up against the number 1 Aggies, coming up just after this break.